Hey guys, it's Miss Perez. I am going to go over the passage Great British Fire. The first thing that we need to do is make sure to write the pride strategy. Okay, we're gonna write PRIDE. Remember that P stands for preview and predict the genre. R stands for read the text. I stands for interpret the vocabulary. D stands for determine the main idea, stop and jot. And E stands for evaluate and evidence. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I circle my title. I'm going to go ahead and circle my title. And I am going to label my title like that. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is start on the price strategy. So the first thing is to preview and predict the genre. I am going to make a good prediction on what this passage is going to be about. So the title says Great British. I'm going to start thinking, I wonder what this passage is going to be about. Well, it says fire. So I'm assuming that maybe there's going to be a fire in a town or something like that. So I am going to go ahead and write that as my prediction. There will be a fire. Okay. Now that I've written my prediction, I'm also going to predict the genre. Do you think this is going to be a nonfiction text or is going to be a fiction text? Remember, nonfiction means that the passage is real, that it actually happened. A fiction means that doesn't mean it is not real. It has characters, it has a setting, it has, things like that. So, from what I see here in the passage, I noticed that it has September 1666. So I think it's going to be a nonfiction passage. I think this actually happened. So I'm going to write, I want to write right here, that's going to be nonfiction. All right. So remember, when you are doing nonfiction, you're going to do a TBME chart. And that is what I drew right here. And you're going to write inside your TBME chart, you're going to write your topic, beginning, middle, and end. So that tells me that I'm going to have 3 stop and jots. So I'm going to write what happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end of my passage. Once I do my stop and jot, I'm going to write it in here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so it says, in September 1666, the city of London was recovering from a great plague. Thousands of people had died. The survivors were trying to start new lives. They had no idea another tragedy was going to strike. That night on September 2nd, a fire started. So, when we are determining the main idea and we're reading our text, we're wanting to know what is the main idea from my first paragraph. So remember, there's a clue that you can see is that you can read the first sentence. Sometimes your main idea is at the first sentence, and sometimes your main idea is at the last sentence. So on this passage, it looks like my main idea is at the beginning of my paragraph. And also, my main idea is at the end of my paragraph. So there are 2 things that are happening in this paragraph. They mentioned that that London was recovering from a great plague, and they also mentioned that a fire started. So I'm going to write that as my stop and jot. So for beginning, I'm going to write London was recovering from a Let's see if I can move this a little bit. Okay, there you go. All right. So we also mentioned that there's something else that happened that is towards my end, and it says that a fire started. So I'm going to write right here, September 2nd, a fire started. Okay. See how I just finished doing my beginning and my middle. So the part of the pride strategy that we're covering is the R, read the text, and the D, determine the main idea. We already did the prediction in was our genre. So let's go ahead and put a check mark there. So we did that one already. Check mark. So once we're done with the R and the D, then we're able to put a check mark on those two. Okay, so now we're going to go to the second paragraph. So let's go ahead and read it. It says, it all began at a baker's shop on Pudding Lane. A maid did not put out the fires that heated the ovens. During the night, the fire grew and got out of hand. The flames spread quickly. Almost all the houses and shops were made from wood. The people worked hard to keep the fire in the south side of the city. Very few people died in the fire. Many houses and shops were destroyed. That is so sad. Things like that happen in everyday life. So right here, that is what is the main idea that happened. So let's go ahead and stop and jot. So they mentioned the fire, they mentioned what happened, what they did. So, and what caught on fire? It says right here, baker's shop caught on fire. That's our main idea. The whole paragraph is talking about how baker's shop caught on fire and how they try to stop it. So let's go ahead and write that for our second paragraph. Baker shop caught on fire and it spread to the city. What spread to the city? The fire spread to the city. Okay, so now we are done with our passage. We read our passage and we also determined the main idea, stop and jot. So we should go ahead and put a check mark because we've done that one. Check and check. Okay. So what is left in my prime strategy? I still have the I and I still have the E. So I is interpret the vocabulary. And usually we have a vocabulary and our word usually have like a line underneath it. But in this passage, it doesn't look like we have any vocabularies. But if we did have vocabularies, we had to get a dictionary and look up what that word means. And if you see a word here that you don't understand, you could use that as your vocabulary and just write what it means on top of that word. And make sure you put your page number, and that's how you do the interpretive vocabulary. Okay, so now let's go ahead and fill in our TVME. We already have our beginning. The B stands for beginning. We have our M, middle, and we have our end. Okay, and our topic usually is our title. So let me go ahead and put a. Let me go ahead and put a T for title. Okay. For topic, sorry, for topic. All right, so now I am ready to fill in my TVME. And you don't have to do your TVME at the front page. You could do it at the back of the page or wherever you have the most room. Okay, so let's go ahead and our topic is Great British Fire. Okay, our beginning, we already wrote our beginning, we're just gonna write it again. It says London was recovering from a plague. Okay, our middle is on September 2nd, a fire started. And our end is baker shop costs on fire and it's spread through the city. Okay. All right. So now we're finished with our T, B, and E. Okay. Now we already done with our T, B, and E. We're gonna go ahead and do the very last part, which is E, and evaluate and evidence. And basically, what evaluate and evidence means is that you have to prove your answers. When you're answering the question, you have to prove it. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to prove your answers. Question number 1 says, the details of the passage show the fire. Okay, so this is an inference question. You have to get what you already read and what you already know and make a really, really good guess. Okay, so we're looking at all the details. We know we have our details right here in our TVME, and we're going to choose which one is the best one, and then we have to prove it. Okay, so the details of the passage shows that the fire, B, could easily have been avoided. In the passage right here towards the end, it says a maid did not put out the fire that heated the ovens. So I think it could have been easily avoided if the person actually put up the fire before, this accident happened. So it could have been easily avoided. So let's go ahead and put a question mark on that one because that could be our answer. So we put a question mark. Okay. C was no one's fault. The details in the passage show that the fire was no one's fault. It looks like it was somebody's fault. And whose fault it was? It was the maid. The maid did not put out the fire, so it was her fault. So that can't be our answer. So let's go ahead and scratch C out because C is not our answer. D, help rid London's of the Great Plague. They didn't really talk about the Great Plague. Only at the beginning, it didn't really say exactly if it got rid of it or anything. That doesn't even make sense, to be honest. So D can't be our answer. So our closest one is B. So let's go ahead and circle B because B is our answer. And remember, we need to prove our answer. We need to make sure that we tell ourselves where did we find that answer. We're not just guessing. So it says could be easily have been avoided, and I found that answer right here. A maid did not put out the fire that heated the ovens. Right there. So I'm going to write Q1. My Q's not that pretty, but. And Q stands for question, and 1 is because it's question number 1. Okay? And we found it right here. We're going to write P2. Okay? P stands for paragraph, and 2 stands for which paragraph it was. So it's paragraph 2. And we are done with question number 1. Yay! See how easy that was? All right, question number 2. What can the reader guess happened after the fire? What can the reader guess happened after the fire? So this is exactly an inference question. You're going to take what you know, what you read from the passage, and you're going to make a guess. I wonder what happened after the fire. Okay, so we're going to look at our options, and it says G, baker shops became illegal. That doesn't really make much sense. I see a lot of baker shops everywhere, and I'm pretty sure people from London still eat bread, so that one doesn't make sense. So let's cross that one off. H, people left the city of London. I don't think people will leave the city of London because of a fire. They can, maybe some did because they don't have a house anymore, but I don't think they'll leave the city either because of a fire. The city of London was rebuilt. Yeah, I feel like after a fire, if a house get caught on fire, it could be anything, a house or a hospital. What they're going to do is that they're going to rebuild the hospital, right? They're going to rebuild the house. So I'm pretty sure that after that fire happened, they had to keep going with their lives and they had to rebuild the city. So let's go ahead and circle that one because that one sounds more like our answer. Okay, the city of London was rebuilt, and now we need to prove our answer. So this doesn't really actually say it in our passage. So we're going to look for a sentence that makes us think makes us think that they rebuilt the city. Okay. All right. I will think right here in paragraph 1 because it says after the tragedy. The city of London was recovering from the Great Plague. You know, they were going through something already, and this thousands of people had died because of that plague. And that plague could have been anything. You know, it could have been a virus. It could have been people dying from a war or something like that. So we don't really know what that plague was, or so, and it doesn't really say, but look what they were trying to do. It says the survivors were trying to start new lives. They were actually trying to start again when this fire happened. So I believe because they were trying already to start a new life, they were gonna rebuild the city too. So this sentence right here tells me that the survivors, the people from London, were going to rebuild their city again because they were trying to do it in the first place. And we're going to write Q1, I'm sorry, not Q1, Q2, Q2, okay? And right here, we're going to write paragraph 1 because we find our answer in paragraph 1, okay? So there's no more questions. So we are done evaluating the end evidence. So let's go ahead and put a check mark there because we're done with E. And we're done with our whole passage. And that is exactly how we're supposed to be doing every single passage, okay? All right, you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Tell your mom to call me, and I will answer any questions that you guys have. Feel free to call me, okay? Bye, you guys.